right. Hmm. So, continuing this theme of loving kindness and just being able to sit in that place of experiencing love, opening to it, and then even starting to notice, what are the things that block us? What are some of the things that just kind of turn the tap down? And one of the things that kind of stops that flow of just being in the love is something that our minds are just really good at, something that is very useful in so many different ways. And yet when it comes to this experience of just being able to open to that loving kindness, open to gratitude, open to just the abundance of what is, this little thing that our mind does can just kind of shut the tap. And that is comparison. So comparison, we compare, we contrast, it helps us determine, it helps us judge, it helps us interpret the world, helps us make good decisions. Really, really useful skill to have. And yet, it's one of those things that can continually point back saying, I don't have that. Wish I had that. If only I had that. And there's this comparison that we automatically focus in on the lack, what's not there, what should be there but isn't. And we can compare in so many different ways. We can compare to our younger selves. It's like, back then when I could do all this, we compare to cultural standards. We compare to friends we admire. You know, there are just so many different measurements of comparison. We compare to ideals of how we think things should be. And when I notice that difference between what I should be and what I'm not, feeling into that lack kind of just shuts that tap down of just being able to just really open to the love that's there. And with all of these, it's like we all have our particular areas or our triggers. Like what's the lack? What's that one area where I wish I had more? It could be, physical image. It could be health. It could be somebody's relationship, their intimate relationship with family. It could be, all sorts of different things, opportunities, the opportunities that that person has that I didn't get. It could be history growing up. I wish I had had a different childhood. Wish I'd had different experiences. There's so many ways that we look and we go, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I don't have that. Should have had that. All the lacks. And so, what would it be like? Again, this is something our brain does. It's not like you're going to be able to stop comparing. So, that's not the goal here. The goal is to not stopping comparing because that is a natural function of brains. But what if when we notice the comparing, this going out here, we don't bring it back to what we lack, but we focus on the abundance that is there for that person in that place, in that experience. So this would be that, if I'm comparing to my younger self of just like, my legs are never going to look like they did when I was 14 years old and dancing all the time. So anytime I'm thinking, ugh, my body, what would it be like to actually go, oh, that 14-year-old self, you are gorgeous. You are so beautiful and you just delight me in your physical health. And offering that blessing, as we've been practicing these past couple of weeks, is just this offering blessing, but particularly offering blessing to the one that kind of twangs that sense of lack, that twangs us in that part that says, I don't have that. Because what we do is we see it there, we compare, and then we stay back here and we focus on what we don't have. And so what I'd like us to do is play with identifying that comparison for you when you look out there and you go, don't have that. And then what was seen to that person instead? Now, again, this is a mindfulness practice. So anything that arises is welcome. If you notice this, like this, I just absolutely can't bless that person. I just have all of this jealousy or envy or just anger towards myself. Then you just gently hold that. You allow it, you accept it. This is that mindfulness practice of allowing what is. And we experiment, we practice. It's like, what would it be like to notice that and offer blessing? So that's going to be our practice today. And we'll just dive right in. So, beginning with the breath, and letting all of your awareness come into your breath, and that anchor into this right now moment. Noticing your inhale and your exhale. Allowing your breath to be exactly as it is in this moment. And there's nothing to change. There's no right way of breathing. It's all just breathing. And just letting all of your attention go into the movement of your breath, the inhale and then the exhale. Feeling the air in your chest as your chest expands and fills, your ribs open up. And then the exhalation, the release, the relax, letting go. And this rhythmic motion of just like expanding, expanding, and opening of your chest. And then with the exhale, it relaxes, releases, lets go. And the breath is a cycle, just the in and the out, over and over again. And feeling that rhythm, the taking in and the letting go. Checking in with your body, noticing the physical sensations that are present. That just quick scan through. Like, oh yeah, here's my body right now. This is what I'm sensing. Just welcoming all the physical sensations into this place. And then that check in with your thoughts. Notice what thoughts are there, where they want to go, how they're moving around, whether they're thinking and planning and jumping ahead. That's okay. You just notice that. Again, brains do what they're going to do. We simply notice. Just notice the brain thinking. And then notice emotions. Allowing the emotions to just be there. Like, oh, hey, there you are. Making space to be aware of the breath, the physical sensations, the thoughts, and the emotions. And then from this place of just being really settled into yourself, bringing to mind one thing that you want to play with. And really, it's play, it's experimenting. Just playing that one thing you want to play with in regards to comparing, where you kind of look at yourself and go, don't have that. Should be that. Notice who you're comparing against, whether it's another person, an ideal, a younger self, beliefs, so many different things that we can compare to, so many ways that we can hold an image out there and see the distance between us and that. And with that mindful awareness, just allowing, noticing the physical sensations that arise as you bring this comparison up. I notice a heaviness in my shoulders. My chest almost wants to cave in, curl in. It's almost like I want to curl back into a shell. For you, you might notice other sensations, other ways that your body responds. You might notice the thoughts that come up. If your thinking gets more insistent and pressured, or loose and scattered, just noticing. And then noticing the emotion when you hold that comparison. What does it feel like? It almost feels like I have a bunch of emotion that just gets stopped up. Like there really is this valve in my throat that just gets turned, and then there's all of this emotional intensity that just builds and has to be contained. You might feel a particular flavor of an emotion. Just noticing. No right or wrong, good or bad, nothing to change. Just awareness, allowing what is. And then perhaps taking a breath, really visualizing that one that you compare against, and taking a moment to just see them. See them. See the thing that they shine in, that they have, that is so beautiful and glorious. Let yourself admire it. Admire the beauty. And sometimes it's really quick where it comes back to you, but I don't have that. You go, okay, brain, I hear you. But right now, I'm just going to look and admire. That's it. I'm just going to notice the beauty that this person has, this blessing that this person has. And as you just notice, see it, imagine telling that person what you admire. Imagine going up to them and saying, this is so amazing that you have this, that you get to experience this. It is so beautiful. It is so beautiful to see this. Notice what happens as you express, not just see, but express your admiration, your blessing towards that person's abundance. And again, however your body responds is welcome. Just noticing what it feels like in your body, in your emotions. And it might be a back and forth, a tug of war, where the attention keeps wanting to come back to you and focusing on the lack. And that's okay. You just notice that. You give it a little kiss and a hug. And you say, okay, and now I'm going to switch my attention to that person, and I'm going to bless them and I'm going to express the blessing. I'm going to admire it. I'm going to see it. And I'm going to say it. I notice so much energy at the top of my chest and my throat. Like all of these words that have been stopped up that just want to be said. Maybe even noticing just a little bit of softening in your chest. Whether you're seeing the other person receive your blessing and admiration, or you're seeing yourself struggle with just noticing the lack. Whatever it is, maybe just a little bit of softening, a little bit of welcoming, that it's all welcome. All the responses are welcome. Breathing way down into the chest, into the belly, letting the breath keep you right here in the experience. As your mind wants to wander off, step away. It can be really intense. So the brain wants to just go think about something else for a little bit. You notice that too. And then you breathe. Come back to here. Come back to just sitting and breathing. And then noticing your chest, noticing your heart, breathing into it. Just allowing that sense of gratitude, admiration, experience of beauty, experience of abundance, experience of blessing. Allowing the sensations of that to be present. So free of any situation, any story, any imagination, just noticing right now that experience. Just what is the state like, the internal state like, to be in a place of expressing abundance, admiration, beauty, love. I notice a lot of soft warmth in my chest. It wants to open and ooze and just kind of pool down everywhere, running down my arms and into my hands. Noticing what you feel just right now in this moment. And then that awareness that this is a real experience right here in this moment. Even as you're sitting in a chair, quiet and breathing, that this experience of softening into expressing love is just right here. There really is nowhere to go, nothing to do. It's all right here, right now, in this moment. And then checking back in with your awareness of self, noticing the physical sensations that are present. Oh, yes, this body right here. Noticing the thoughts, noticing the emotions. This is my awareness of self here in this moment. Taking a breath, breathing all the way to the edges of yourself, making space for all of it, breathing it in fully, deeply, abundantly, and then exhaling, and letting it all go. Taking a few more breaths. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes.